So that's one aspect that the core central idea. If you have a good core central idea, right, it will resonate across audiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you start looking at, say, the mutual fund industry, right, it's taken like almost 30-40 years to reach where it has today, right?
True.
So it has had that much time to build trust. And still, like, people don't trust mutual funds,
Yeah.
right? Like, you go to a party, right, and then there you see some individual, like,
Mm-hmm.
whom you know that this person is very important, right? And you
Okay.
want to go and meet that person, but you want to go and meet that person with in a way that the person trusts what you have to say and will give you a good hearing, right? So how do you do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the ways is to, like, use a reference, right? You know somebody else at the party. You ask him, do you know this person? If that person says, yeah, I know this person, then you say, okay, like, just give me an introduction. Let me.
Welcome to Icons Behind Brands. Hi, I'm Devleena Neogi, your host, and I'm back with one more episode on Icons Behind Brand with one more special guest with me today. And I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Mr. Karun Thareja, who is currently serving as a head of marketing and product at fairsent.com. So join us as we explore Karun's journey and insights and his invaluable contribution to the industry right here on Icons Behind Brands. A very warm welcome to you, Karun, on Icons Behind Brands.
Thank you so much, Devleena, and a very warm welcome to the audience as well.
Lovely. Karun, I would love to know about your background and journey to start with so that, we are building the context for the whole conversation of today.
So my journey actually started with engineering and MBA, which I did from DC and FMS. So that
Okay.
was in the year 96, like it's about uh, 28 years back, right?
Oh.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so at that point in time, the situation was quite different as compared to what it is today. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't even have things like digital marketing at that point in time. So it was all offline, brand marketing at that point in
Mm-hmm.
time. So my interest has always been around, marketing and technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So through my career, like the various, positions I've been in and the various, jobs I've done have been related to, either one of those two fields, or it's been a mixture of the two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I started off with NIIT, where I was looking after the multimedia business, looking after its soul, the marketing, etc. So the idea there was to was to build content and acquire content, which is multimedia content, which
Mm-hmm.
enabled education for the kindergarten to class 12 um, uh, age group, right? So that was very new at that point in time in the country, and I had a great time doing that. Post that, I wanted to, like, focus a little bit more on the tech side, so I got the
Okay.
opportunity to work with companies like IBM. Uh, I wanted to focus a little bit more on the tech side.
Mm-hmm.
So my engineering is actually electronics engineering, so I was quite interested in that area. So next few years, like, I was on the tech side with IBM, with Microsoft, with Oracle. Predominantly, I was looking after businesses which are related to data management, and
Okay.
that kind of gave me like a very good flavor for what B2B marketing looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while at NIIT, it was primarily B2C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then post Oracle, I kind of entered the startup world. Basically, with friends, like, who were, like, really pulling me and, like, asking me to, help them grow their businesses. I worked for a company called VTech Squad, which was like
Okay.
a B2C marketing, but basically doing marketing across markets of, like, the US, UK, Australia, primarily digital marketing. So I kind of got a very good feel for digital marketing during that stint.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was working with an analytics SaaS-based startup called Wise Minds. Then
Mm-hmm.
for the last 7 years, I've been with Faircent.
Okay.
And Faircent is predominantly into financial services. There's a new concept called peer-to-peer lending. That's
Okay.
what we do. We pioneered it uh, around, like, 10 years back. right? So I was part of the founding team at Faircent.
So, Karun, let me understand this, this part of marketing as a subject. Like, how do you adapt the marketing strategy to resonate with diverse demographics? You have worked with diverse industries, so you understand this part. Diverse
Right.
demographics and the cultural nuances across different regions, drawing from your experiences working with various markets and industries. Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, like as individuals, we have our needs, wants, and aspirations, right? And we resonate with messages, which help us to fulfill our needs, our wants, or move up the ladder, from an aspirations perspective, right? So that's one aspect that the core central idea, if you have a good core central idea, right, it will resonate across audiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't like need to be very different. A mix of both kind of helps. If you're doing B2B, it's a little more data-based thought processes, database decision making, but there is still there is still emotional attachment there, right? Whereas when we talk about consumers, it is more the more emotion you use, the better your messages resonate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are able to create a emotional connect with your communication with your customers, right? Then you get that much more impact, right? So ultimately, like it's about getting your message heard. Uh, if your message is good enough, your customer will remember it, and if your customer remembers it, then he will remember you at the time when he wants to make that purchase.
So, Karan, this particular segment where you're working, it's a very trust and credibility related industry, right? So, what are some effective strategies you'd like to suggest for brand building and credibility with potential investors and borrowers in this peer-to-peer landing segment?
So, like if you start looking at, say, the mutual fund industry, right, it's taken like almost 30, 40 years to reach where it has today, right?
True.
So it has had that much time to build trust, and still like people don't trust mutual funds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it has taken that much time. Now, like we as a financial services brand, we are entering this market. Now, fortunately, we have 10 years behind us, but those 10 years have come one by one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a situation like how do you build trust, right?
Yeah.
How do you build trust with your customers, right? But one of the ways in which you can really sort of hack trust, if you might put it that way, is by using proxies. Okay.
Okay.
And that is something which we try to do in our initiatives, right? So like say for example, like you go to a party, right, and then there you see some individual like
Mm-hmm.
whom you know that this person is very important, right, and you
Okay.
want to go and meet that person, but you want to go and meet that person with a in a way that the person trusts what you have to say and will give you a good hearing, right? So how do you do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the ways is to like use a reference, right? You know somebody else at the party. You ask him, do you know this person? If that person says, yeah, I know this person, then you say, okay, like just give me an introduction. Let me. Uh, so then what happens is that there is a trust transfer which happens, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that person trusts the intermediary, and the intermediary trusts you. So when you go and meet the person, right, the
Mm-hmm.
transfer of trust of the intermediary comes to you, right? It's not 100%, but you don't start from zero, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that is one of the ways in which you can hack trust, right? Right. So for example, that's why we work with RBI to get a regulation out to say that we have a license, right? We have a license from RBI. RBI has done all the due diligence, has looked at what we do, how we do, has given their green light. Therefore, we're in this business, right? So that's just one aspect, right? So because people trust RBI, therefore, that trust translates
Mm-hmm.
to us, right? Further, like when you start using references, when you use like a referral marketing, we've also like, kind of, we also use that as from a go-to-market perspective, right?
Okay.
So we have a network of channel partners, like so financial advisors on the lending side, right? These financial advisors have been trusted by their clients to manage their wealth, right? So we work with those financial advisors to position our offerings in front of the actual investors or customers, right? So just a tip of the iceberg. Trust is a very deep topic.
What legacy do you hope to leave as a leader to Pearcent.com, and what steps are you taking to cultivate this, the future leaders of organizations?
I think as far as legacy is concerned, I think so. One of the key things which I try to impress upon, people who are part of the teams which I lead, is to always keep the customer at the center, right? So some of these things, are a very important legacy as far as like my personal thought process is concerned, right? So if they are able to keep this tenet about keeping the customer in the center in mind, I think most of the stuff which they do will lead to success, right? So that's one of the key things. Apart from that, like we've got Faircent to a certain stage. That's the brand is the key legacy, right? It's a brand which is trusted in the financial services space. It has stood the test of time. Like we've gone through a lot of ups and downs in our 10-year journey, right? COVID, all sorts of different other kinds of crises, which
Yeah.
have come. And I think as a financial services brand, that's very key, and that also goes towards the trust, which our customers have towards us, right? Are concerned. We've been fortunate enough that there are people who have been as a part of my team for a long time, right? Like we have a few of them who have been there since the beginning, right? So that's very great. I feel very fortunate in that aspect, right?
Karun, with this now, we will be moving towards a very different section called Rapid Fire Round. But now our viewers and listeners will get to know about you as a person a little more. So this is a not so formal section, and here the rules are: you need to answer either in one word or as minimum word as possible. Okay. So are we good to go?
Yeah, sure. Let's give it a shot.
Superb. So let's start. Karan, what has been your favorite age so far?
Without doubt, college times.
Lovely. Yes. And what has changed the most since you have started working here in Pearson?
The change has been that we have started to look at more process versus individuals, right? So the process has become quite important, right? It's not that individuals have lost their importance, but earlier on there was no process, but
Yeah.
like when we started, but
Yes.
gradually, like we've seen that building out, and now there is much more focus around ensuring that the process is in place, is monitored, is enhanced. Uh, so that's one big change.
Karan, what advice would you give to an employee on their first day of work?
I would just advise them to observe.
So, if you could not work in this industry, what profession would you pursue, Karan?
So it, either I would have been in research, or maybe would have been an artist, or maybe would have been in the advertising industry, right?
And when are you most productive?
Most productive first half of the day, actually.
What would you change about yourself if given a chance?
I'm sorry, but I can't think of anything I'd like to change up front. People also love you for who you are. If you change, then
That's true.
you'll end up making people not love you, right? At
Yeah,
least some people would love you.
right. And what advice would you give to your younger self? A little similar to that question.
I would advise that not to worry so much about winning or losing, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Rather like enjoying the moment, enjoying the journey, right?
So, what is your advice for any aspiring marketing leaders on their way?
Firstly, like try put yourself in the customer shoes. That's probably For some people might find it easy, some people might find it difficult, but that is key. So I think if you do that, essentially, either you will be successful, or even if you're not successful, you will get a lot of learning from what you've done, right? Or like what not to do will be like will be essential, right? Like as a marketer, one thing I would like for this customer centricity, what you must do is if you have a call center, hear what your customer is saying, right? Listen to those calls, right?
So the categorization is extremely important, and at the same time, understanding your customers' need, value is like you need to keep reminding yourself again and again. So I'm in B2B. For B2B, that's how I connect. I mean, we know if this is our A customer, B customer, C customer. So the whole organization follow that ABC, and it's not like so many people and different customers and other things. I'm thankful to you that you agreed for this conversation, and it happened, and it was amazing talking to you here.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks to the lovely audience as well. I hope it will be useful for them.
So, business folks, how was the video? I'm sure कि आपको ये वीडियो बहुत ही insightful and informative लगा होगा. हम ऐसे ही इंडिया के टॉप बिजनेस ब्रांड सीक्रेट्स आपके पास लाते रहते हैं. If you like our efforts, we would appreciate you by liking and sharing it, and please do not forget to subscribe to it. That's all for today. I'm Devleena Neogi, your host, signing off until next time.